Hello everyone, Happy New Year. I hope you had a beautiful holiday and a Happy New Year. I'm videoing this on New Year's Day and the snow just started to fall and it's kind of windy, so it's a great day to sew. So I hope that over the holiday you had time to get all of your pieces cut out. So we are on clue number 1 and you have cut out all of your pieces and you're ready to start to sew. You have no idea what all those pieces are for, do you? Let me show you what you're going to do today. So your first clue, you're going to be making these little heart blocks. Aren't they cute? You will be making 12 of these blocks. So this one is done with the Kansas Trouble fabric. Then I have my little bag of batiks. Can't open my bag. Of batik ones. Look at these, that's so fun. All kinds of different colors for the batiks. And then I have the folk tail, I should say. Folk tail, and that's these guys. Now some of your backgrounds might end up being different than mine. We had so many people join that we kind of had to do a variety of backgrounds on some of these because we ran out of background fabric. But whatever background fabric you have, it's going to be beautiful and it's going to work great. So you're going to be making a series of hearts with your folk tail. And then the last one we have is that fun poppy cotton fabric. That's so sweet. So it was interesting to see how many people, who liked what. It's always kind of interesting to see if there's one that was more popular than another. And I have to say that it was almost even across the board. I think there was one that maybe was two people less chose that one. But I think it was like all even across the board. So that was very interesting to see what you like. And everybody seemed to like something different. And nobody seemed to like one more than the other. So it was kind of fun to see who ordered what. So here's your little hearts if you're doing the poppy cotton. So these are just, oops, that's the same one. A few varieties of the hearts that you'll be doing for this. So let me show you how to make this little heart. You are going to need all of your B fabrics. So get your little bag that's marked B and all of the fabrics that are marked B. So you will have, this is 1B, 2B, 3B, 4B, and there was no 5B, 6B, okay? So of these, you will need, of number 1, you'll have 6 of these, 2, you'll have 4, 3, you'll have 6, and 4 and 6, you'll have 4. Once you make your hearts, all together, you will end up with 12 heart blocks. Ready? Now, to make your heart block, oh, that's just the first fabric you're gonna need. Excuse me. Then you will need S, T, and U. S, T, U, and V. Oops, I missed one. Oh, these are right here. Here they are. Where'd they go? Here's the rest of them. There we go. We're gonna need S, which is your little 1-inch squares. T, which are 2 3/8 inch squares. U, which are 1.5 by 4 1/4, and V, which is 1.5 by 6 1/4. Alrighty? So you're going to need 48 of these and 24 of each of these. Alrighty? Once you've done that, take your 2 3/8 inch squares and draw a line diagonally through it, through the side. So use your Frixion pen and your Quilter's Magic Wand and draw diagonal lines like you were making a half square triangle from one edge to the other on each one of those. Alrighty? Then you're going to line your fabrics up like this. Each square will take 2 of your B fabrics, and on each corner of that, you will then add a 1/4 inch, 2 3/8 inch squares. And watch the way the diagonal is lining up. And then on each of your 4 corners, now I don't, on my little 4 top corners, I did not draw lines diagonally through my 1-inch squares, but you are certainly welcome to do that. So if you'd like to draw lines on your 1-inch squares, you can. And those need to be lined up as shown in the photo here. And it also shows on your instructions how to lay those out. You will then sew on the lines. Then you will trim the excess off to about 1/4 of an inch. At that point, you will then press on one side of your heart. You will press the little triangles toward the outside, or toward the away from the red. On mine it's the red, or on your away from your heart. On the other side, you will press your seams toward the heart. That way, when you sew them together, which is going to be your next step, you're going to sew those 2 pieces together to create your heart. That way your little seams will nest and fit right inside of one another and match up beautifully when you sew that. Now you'll sew that with 1/4 of an inch seam. I then flipped that over, pressed that seam open, just because it gives me a flatter seam right there, and there's quite a few there's a little bit of thickness in those little seams, and I think you'll be happier if those seams are pressed open. Okay, then you can see your little heart already made up. Once you've done that, you will then add your S strips. Those are the 1.5 by 4 1/4 inch strips. Oops, was that S or T? Wait a minute. Those would be your U strips. The U strip goes on either side of that heart. You'll sew those on 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and then press your seam toward the outside, toward that background strip. Then you will add your V strip, and that will go across the top and the bottom of your heart. That you will sew on with 1/4 of an inch seam and press as well. Now you can see that you have your whole little square done, except for one thing. When I did these, I had you make these little outside strips a little bit wider so that you can take that 5.5 inch ruler that I've talked about in the first video and square that up. And let me show you how to do that. Okay, now you can see that your block is a little bit big because we want these blocks to be 5.5 by 5.5. And I did this on purpose so that if things weren't quite square, if things shrunk up a little bit as you were sewing, you can get a perfect 5.5 inch block. So this is what you're going to do next. You're going to take that 5.5 inch ruler that I said was going to be so important on your first clue. Well, this is when you're going to use it. You can see the white line that goes straight through. That's the middle of this 5.5 inch ruler. I'm going to line this white line up with the center of my heart, that center seam line that goes right through my heart. So I'm going to start with that right there, and get that going through. Then I want to line up. You can kind of see how this line is coming right straight across my seam line there. This line is coming right straight down my seam line here. This is coming right down there, and this little line is lining up there. So I kind of want to get that little square going around, get my white line going down the center of my heart as best I can. And then I will take my cutter and I'm going to cut 2 sides. Oops. I'm going to cut going across the top side here and across the top. Get those little guys out of the way. Did I get this one? Nope, not quite. There we go. Then I'm going to turn the whole thing. Get this lined up again. Let's get straight on your video here. I'm going to line up this side that I just cut, and along the bottom there that I just cut, and cut the other two sides. And you have a perfect 5.5 inch square. Yay, look at how beautiful that looks. I changed up the instructions so that these were a little bit wider so that you could trim everything up just perfect. Now you're gonna go back and make 11 more of these. And that is what you need to get done this week. Well, I hope that you're ready to get sewing and get these done. They're so much fun. They don't take a lot of time, and you're gonna have perfect 5.5 inch squares because you're gonna cut those down at the end, and everything's gonna fit perfectly later on. So once you get those done, you're gonna put them in a plastic bag or just clip them all together and set them aside, and then you'll be ready for clue number 2, and that'll come in about a week. So if you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me, and have fun with this. See you soon. Bye-bye.